and beliefs of the people that they speak for. There's no question about that. You know, the majority of the Yoruba people love Sunday Igboho. That the majority of the Yoruba people, both the intelligentsia, the elites, and the followership, okay, share Igboho's views, and they revere him. And what are those views? Protecting the lives and property of Yoruba people, and a situation where they believe, he believes, and those that support him believe that there should be self-determination. Why? Because Nigeria is no longer protecting the people of the Southwest. Nnamdi Kanu in the East, I believe strongly, and I've been coming to the East for many years, as you know, and I'm a friend of the East. I love the East. There's no Eastern governor that I do not know well, whether it's Umahi or Obiano, all of them. We're friends. I have great admiration for people of the East. But I'll tell you this, that the aspirations of Nnamdi Kanu, in my view, is shared by the overwhelming majority of young people in the East. So these are people that you cannot ignore. Now, they're my personal friends, by the way, as well, and I never deny my friends in good or bad, just like I have many Northern friends. But I'll tell you this much, though. Where I think we need to be careful is where we say, okay, fine, that we have these aspirations, and then we begin to try to implement them by the force of arms. There's nothing wrong, in my view, with Nnamdi Kanu and Sunday Igboho speaking about self-determination. That is their constitutional right, and people are entitled to have that view. What I think there's a problem, though, is where people begin to pick up arms and guns and target policemen, target security personnel. So it doesn't help your case. It doesn't help the cause. Now, Igboho hasn't done that at all, in fairness to him, in my view. Kanu stands accused of doing that. I haven't seen any evidence of that, and I don't want to believe he would ever do such a thing, and neither do I believe the IPOB would. But it's very important that whatever we feel, however passionate we are, and there are few people that are as passionate as I am when it comes to the issues of you know, inequality in this country and the way in which many Southerners and many Middle Belters have been treated in the past. I have spoken out more than anybody else over the years. You know, people are talking now. I've been saying these things for the last 5 years. But so you will grant me the right to say, listen, thus far and no further. Let's not push it too far. Defend ourselves, insist on our rights, insist on an equitable Nigeria, grant those that want self-determination the right to speak it out if they want, and try and convince them to stay if that's what you want. But what we mustn't do is, out of passion and anger, push ourselves into a civil war situation. We must also reach out to those on the other side, if you like, who many from the South and Middle Belt perceive to be the enemy. Reach out to them and make it clear to them that, look, whatever excesses took place in the past, this is a new dawn, that nobody will accept any nonsense or any kind of subjugation or any kind of attempt to humiliate us or cheat us. Nobody's going to accept that anymore in Nigeria. And those of us that are moderates, that have been saying, let us build these bridges, if you don't stop your excesses, those behind us will push us aside and say, well, you've tried your best, and then it'll become something completely different, which is what we don't want.
What do you think about the arrest, or would I say the adoption of Nnamdi Kanu recently? He's a good friend. What's your opinion?
Let me tell you this. I know how government works, and I left government in 2008, but I know how government works. I was born into the corridors of power, and one of the things that I believe one has to recognize is the fact that when you have channels of communication open to elements within the government, and you believe those elements may be able to effect your purpose or reflect your opinion within the circles of power in order to achieve whatever you want them to achieve, then you have to be very careful what you say publicly. The minute you start speaking publicly and say this, they will not listen to you anymore, and you will not be able to achieve your objective, which is why I'm being extremely careful. First of all, I condemn the fact that he was tortured in Kenya. That is unacceptable to me. He was tortured for 8 days and so on and so forth. The circumstances under which he was brought back to Nigeria are questionable. But I would rather, and I've said a little bit about that. I've said a little bit about my friend Sunday Igboho as well, what happened in his home, when it happened. But outside of that, I don't want to say anything, because everything I'm saying, believe me, I'm saying it privately to those within this government, the corridors of power, that I'm very close to, and I'm making those representations strongly, and I'm saying that, look, we need to have peace, and if you want to have peace, let's remember that you've got to talk to even those that you consider to be enemies.
Okay. The lawmakers somehow, do you think they are shy of electronic voting? You know, looking at what's been happening in this recent time.
Well, I don't know. I mean, the point is that each will speak for himself. But in my view, it's something that I don't see why people would want to get rid of that unless there's more to it. So let me just leave it at that. I find it curious that why.
What do you see? What do you think? What do you see happening there? Was it intentionally tampered with the electoral bill?
I really wouldn't want to say because I don't know. The answer to the question is I really don't know. But what I do know is that it is important for us to do the right thing. And because this next election could make or break Nigeria, and we've got to be very, very careful with what we do.
Okay, and I appreciate that. The next one would be, what's your definition of restructuring? You seem to be in favor of restructuring.
I've always believed in restructuring. It's to devolve power to the various zones. This is my own view, not to the states. I believe power should be devolved to the various zones, so each zone can develop at its own pace, rely on its own mineral resources, probably 90% derivation. In other words, whatever you have in your zone should be shared between your people. These are just my views. A certain element of the ability to make decisions concerning local matters in your zone, and less power for the federal government in those various zones. That's what I believe in, and it's called devolution and devolution of power. And I believe we need a true federation. I believe we need state zonal police forces. I believe that we need possibility of zonal military commands in view of what's going on, and so on and so forth. And if you look at the First Republic, you actually find that this is what we had in the First Republic. And in fact, the Southwest, the Western region as it was then, my dad was deputy premier of the Western region, had its own embassy in the United Kingdom, you know, had our own flag, had our own anthem, and so on and so forth. And yet we were still within Nigeria, you know, a wider Nigeria. And I believe that we need to consider the possibility of going back to that. But the challenge that we have today, though, is greater than that, because the call for restructuring appears to be only voiced by people in my generation and older. The challenge we have is that the call for self-determination is now vogue, whether anybody likes to accept it or not. And this is something that we need to understand. And what we need, amongst the younger generation, what we need to do is find a way of meeting them halfway by saying, listen, we don't have to go our separate ways if you devolve power. But many of them want to go their separate ways, and we need to give them a reason to want to stay in Nigeria. And that means you must have an equitable Nigeria where everybody is treated equally and fairly. And the wrongs of the past are put right. Let me give you an example. 3 million people killed during our civil war. Civilians. 100,000 people killed in the first pogrom before the Civil War from the east, in the north. Issues like abandoned property, issues like the way in which the Igbos were humiliated and marginalized over the years. The Nigerian, I'm a Nigerian, has never apologized for this. I believe that that's where it all starts, the healing process, for the psyche of the Igbo man. If I were an Igbo man, I know how I'd feel. You must always put yourself on the other side. Know how I'd feel. I'd feel terrible. And I'd feel so much resentment in me. Okay? So that's that. That needs to be done. That's the start. There you now go to the Southwest and assure the people that what happened to the Igbos will never happen to us. That is to say, we will not be treated in this way. Neither will anybody else in the South, and neither will anybody in the North. We must all come to terms with our history, accept it, apologize to one another, love one another again, and try to reach out to the younger ones who are saying no more Nigeria, to make them understand that perhaps we can still salvage Nigeria. And if we can't salvage Nigeria, well, then so be it. But let it be peaceful.
There seems to be a very sharp divide in this opinion of whether restructuring or secession. The North does not want to hear any of those. Do you think that the South have not been able to really convince or lobby them to see the advantages or otherwise?
Well, first of all, it's not everybody in the South that wants secession. It's a younger generation that wants secession. And when you say secession, I don't like the word. Self-determination is the word to use. But there's a big difference between the two. Okay? Secession is akin to rape. Self-determination is exercising your right to just go to where you want. It's an exercise the right of freedom. Now, I would say that the younger generation, but not everybody in the South wants to exercise that right of self-determination. There are many Southerners that still believe in united Nigeria, but there are also millions, particularly in the Southwest and the Southeast, that do not believe in that and want to go their separate ways. And now, in the North, you said that they don't want that. That, again, I must dispute that. There are elements in the North who have said clearly and categorically that if others want to go, then they're ready to go on their own. And I'm talking about the core North. They're also saying the same thing. Some of them, not all. But the mainstream, just like the mainstream political leaders in the South, the mainstream political leaders in the North are all saying no. We don't want secession. We don't want self-determination. We want united Nigeria. Some are saying there should be a restructured Nigeria, and therefore Nigeria can remain united. And then others are saying nothing should change, and we should just continue the way that we're going. So this is the sort of catalogue of opinions. In my view, you cannot tell people that they don't have the right to talk about self-determination. I say it again, I keep saying it. If you don't want it, then you have to reach out to these people to give them reasons to want to stay. And that's what I think is important now. But if, for example, the people of the Southwest, the majority of them, after a referendum, say they want to leave Nigeria, nobody can stop them. The same with the Southeast, the same with Arewa, the same with the Middle Belt, because that is what freedom and self-determination is all about. And we won't be the first country to break up. There are many, many other countries that have broken up, some in war, some in peace. We hope that if it ever comes to that, it will not be in war. But my belief and my prayer and my hope is that we can still work out these differences as comrades and brothers and sisters and compatriots, and try to see how we can make the people of the Southwest, retrace their thinking and say, okay, maybe we should give it another opportunity. Same with the people of the East and the same with the people of the North. That, I think, we should do. If we do that, we attempt that, and if it doesn't work, then we know that, well, truly, we were never meant to be together. But it might work. Some
people accuse the Jonathan administration, which you were part of.
I was not.
Okay.
I was never in Jonathan's government. I was the spokesman of his presidential campaign. Campaign organization in 2015 during the election, but I was not part of his government. Though I think his government was an excellent government, so I'm prepared to stand up for them anytime.
But you share some sympathy with that government.
Well, I spoke for the candidacy of Jonathan. So, like I said, I'm very proud of his efforts as somebody that was in the same party as him, and I spoke for him. And I think his government did an excellent job. But I wasn't in that government. I was in Obasanjo's government, which was equally good. If not better.
People can attest to that now. Anyway. So some people accuse the Jonathan government of not being able to take the opportunity he had to initiate this restructuring thing, especially after the confab which he organized. That if he wanted to do it, he had the opportunity to do it. So why are we making so much noise now about restructuring now that the North has taken over?
It's not a legitimate criticism. It's an unfair criticism. It's baseless, and it's irrational. Why? He set up a constitutional conference. Everybody came together from all over the country. They agreed on a number of things. He would have implemented it had he been given a second term. The thing had barely been done. He now wanted to put it through the process of implementation, which would have really solved a lot of problems in this country, because it was a document based on consensus, but he was voted out. And this is one of the reasons why we fought so hard for him in 2015. We wanted issues like that to be addressed and processes like that to be implemented and agreements like that to be implemented. But unfortunately, he was voted out, and the President Buhari came in. When President Buhari came in, of course, he wasn't interested in that. So I don't think you can blame Jonathan for that at all. In fact, you should commend Jonathan for having the courage, the vision to provide a reasonable solution to a very, very difficult, complicated, and almost, impossible problem to solve. But he came up with a pretty good solution.
There is some rumor in some quarters that they see you romancing with some APC chieftains and all that, and they're asking, maybe does FFK want to move over to APC now, and
politics,
like every other person?
Politics is not war.
Yeah.
Politics is politics. I have friends on both sides of the divide. I've always done that. I've always had that. And any sensible politician will have friends, or any sensible human being will always have friends on both sides. I relate with people that I have respect for. I may not agree with each individual and everything, but I have respect for courage of their convictions and are sincere in their approach. And I have absolutely no apology for having friends in both PDP and APC. I have enemies in both as well, I might add. But I have friends in both, and I'm proud of each and every one of these people that you call my friends in both parties. I have access to them, we speak, we work together, we counsel one another, and we make inputs in terms of developments for the future of our country. And that's, for me, is the barometer. I don't think that I'm the only politician in this country, including Jonathan, including Wike, and so many others, that speak to and have friends on the other side. I've seen each of them and many others talking to people on the other side and having good friends on the other side, and vice versa. That's how it should be. Because you're in a different political party, it does not mean you should be enemies. And I'll also add this. There's a very high level of fluidity, let me use that word, right now in the politics of Nigeria. A lot of people are shifting, and I am not one of those that condemns anybody for following the courage of his convictions, because you don't know what it is that they may have provoked Ayade, for example, to go to APC, Umahi to go to APC, Matawale, one of my closest friends in Zamfara, to go to APC, Senator Grace Bent, who is declaring, I believe, tomorrow to go to APC. You don't know what drove them there. You don't know why they went there. You don't know what their circumstance situation. So, each of us reserves the right to make that choice for himself and for the good of our country. I will say that both parties have strengths and both parties have weaknesses. And I think one of the things that we've done, we haven't done too well, is to look within ourselves to know where we've gone wrong. PDP has made many, many mistakes. Thank God you still have people like Bala Mohammed rising up there, who is doing exceptionally well. And because of him, many people are still in the party. Had it not been for that, I can assure you more people would have left. But, you also have people in the APC that are doing so well, like Yaya Bello, like Natawale and others. And of course, the Yobe governor, Maibuni, who is an exceptional man. And without him as being chairman of APC, I doubt you would have had all these defections. He's a master politician, and he's a good man. Now, what do you want me to say? Because he's in APC, I shouldn't commend him. I criticize and condemn anybody that I believe has done wrong, and I will do so without fear or favor. That's me. You get it? So the point is that it's fluid. There are good guys on both sides. There are bad guys on both sides, and you have to identify the individual you're prepared to work with and that you have respect for. It's not about demons being in one and angels being in another. That's not Nigerian politics. That's not politics anywhere.
Yeah. So your relationship with him doesn't mean that you're moving over.
No. I have said there's a lot of fluidity, and I'm saying to you that a lot will be determined by what happens in the next few weeks and days. So moving over or not moving over is not the issue for me now. Right now, it's a question of what is going to happen. We react to things.
Okay.
Now, we react to things. So anything can happen. Let me put it like that.
Okay. So what do you think about governors cross-carpeting to a different political party with the mandate of a different party? Because it's clear that in the Constitution, what people vote for is the party. And then the governor is an individual, and he gets this he gets this mandate from one certain party and moves over.
I believe that...
Is it not causing a lot of problems?
This did not just start now. This started in 2015 when a handful of governors, including Bukola Saraki, Tambuwal, and a number of others, decided to leave the PDP, scuttle the PDP, sink the PDP ship by moving across to APC. You remember? No. I'm coming to it. I'm coming to it because you said it in the context of what is happening now. So I'm telling you that those complaining about it now were the ones that actually started this process in 2015. Now, they did it to the PDP at that time for reasons best known to themselves. And we fought them. We fought them. They joined the APC at that time. Now, look at what's happening now. There are people within the PDP who, those guys came back, left the APC and came back and were given pride of place. Atiku, all of them. Bukola Saraki, Atiku, given pride of place in the PDP that they scuttled in 2015. They now came back, given pride of place. Okay? And now you have people that have been PDP stalwarts all along are saying for whatever reason, different reasons, that they want to go to the APC, and they're going to the APC. And then you that did it before is criticizing him for going. Look, it's each to his own. I will never criticize somebody, particularly governors, who make a decision based on their own personal circumstances. And I know most of these people. I know Ayade very well. I know Umahi well, and I know Matawale well, and I know most of the others very well. And I've had an interaction with them, and I know why they did what they did. I'll be the last to criticize them for doing what... They have the right to make that decision and that choice. Now, you spoke about the constitutionality of the action. That is a matter for the law courts to determine. The morality of the action, I've told you. Nobody can accuse them of being immoral because PDP started this, the elements in the PDP that started this process in 2015. You get my point. So let's not look at the morality of it. Everybody's doing it. Those PDP that's suffering for it now, it was PDP governors that started this thing in 2015 and went to APC. So nobody is clean when it comes to that. But on the issue of constitutionality, that is a matter for the courts to determine. I personally think that that a governor has been elected in, and he reserves the right to... Okay, let me give you an example. If, for example, tomorrow, say you're in Party Y, you're elected on that platform, and suddenly Party Y endorses the position of, endorses the policy of, we can kill people because they're wearing blue shirts on a Tuesday. And you as governor of Party Y says, listen, this is barbaric, unbelievable, and unacceptable. I can't live with that. I can't be in a party that does that. Would you stay in the party or would you leave the party?
No, I'm going to answer it by saying that if I want to move to another party, I will finish my tenure as that governor of that party.
And stay
just like someone else did, just like Pipo, for instance, did. And then he moved over, and nobody will have any problem with that.
And stay with people that are murdering people every day. I'm not saying they're doing that. I'm talking.
I'm
giving you. From my example.
Yes.
And stay with people. You might have that sort of disposition to stay with people that murder people every day in the name of I belong to this party. But not everybody has it. I certainly wouldn't have it. I would not be prepared to stay in a party in which I'm treated like filth.
But you should finish your tenure and drop the mandate and move over.
That is your opinion. That is a matter of law. It's not a matter of... It's a matter of law, and it's a matter of morality. You have that view. It's a subjective view, right? Is it right or wrong? Fine, you believe it's wrong. Others believe, listen, I have to go now. Okay? That's their right. That's their belief. Whether it's constitutional or not, the courts can determine it. You can't tell me. I can't tell you. The courts will determine that. But most important of all is this. There are major issues within the PDP that have made most of these people take the decisions that they've taken. They did not take them lightly. And I think that the PDP ought to really look within and work hard to ensure that people stop leaving simply by changing their style. I mean, I didn't want to be drawn into this.
Are you not sure is the attraction for power the central?
You see, this is the problem with Nigerians. Why would you... which attraction for power? What is it? What? No. See, what is it? Look, listen. Okay, was it attraction for power that made Saraki leave PDP in 2015? Was it attraction for power that made Tambua leave? Was it attraction for power? I would say no. They had their own concerns. And I don't blame them for that. And they now fought the same PDP and scuttled the whole PDP ship and stopped Jonathan. Was it an attraction for power then? I do not, unlike most Nigerians, I don't judge people based on hearsay or based on what I read on social media or on other people's opinions. I criticize effectively and powerfully once I'm appraised of all the facts. I don't spare anybody. whether it is the president or whether it is anybody in government or outside government, once I'm appraised. But one thing I always do is do my research well. And I'm telling you, you need to sit down and talk to some of these people and ask them why. I don't think Ayade is after any power. I don't think Umahi is after any power. I don't think, certainly Matawel is not after any power. Circumstances are different for them than they are to others. Ugwai is my very good friend. He's in the PDP. He's quite comfortable in the PDP. He has few issues in the PDP, and he's doing an excellent job. He's my friend. So I don't see why he would want to leave. If he told me tomorrow he's leaving because, I'd say, fine, that is your right. I respect your judgment. I respect your views. But people need to know why people do things. And don't always assume the worst about people. Don't always assume that. And a lot of people judge other people by their own standards. Are you getting me? This is the basic truth. And I'll tell you this much, okay? I know there are some people that I'm close to, some of the governors that are PDP that love the PDP and will never leave. That's their right. And they have every reason to feel hurt when others leave, okay? And there are others that love APC and will never leave. That's their view. But please, we must not judge people unless we have all the facts and the reasons why they do what they do.
I appreciate that. The very last question, sir. The PDP doesn't seem to be playing a very strong role as an opposition. So that's been in the public domain.
I think
that's been in the public domain. I don't know what you think about that.
Well, I think you're absolutely right. And this attitude that nobody matters, you know, if you're not this, you don't matter. If you're not, I think that has not served the party very well. I don't like criticizing the PDP. If you notice, I try not to, because even if I'm not going to be in PDP tomorrow, I am in PDP. I've made a point that I will not be the one to be shooting bullets at them. But there is a lot that still needs to be done within this party. I mean, a situation whereby a survey was done, this poll was conducted by Vanguard newspaper, I think about 6 months to a year ago. And they said, who have been the most consistent voices against the federal government and President Buhari over the last 5 years? And they now listed Guinea. I came number one. Next came, I believe, Reno Mokri, who doesn't even live in Nigeria. Next came, I believe, Wike or Fayoshi. And then it was either Wike or Fayoshi, third or fourth, or vice versa. And then number 5 on the list came the People's Democratic Party. It's extraordinary. A political party is meant to keep a government on its toes. PDP has not been able to do that. Now, in my view, there's something wrong with that. And this is probably one of the reasons why people are saying, well, look, something has gone wrong. There doesn't seem to be any change. And we need to consider perhaps fighting the battle, and this is very important for you to appreciate, fighting the battle for justice and equity from within the party that is in power. In other words, if you can't fight them from outside, and you can see that the vehicle outside is not going anywhere and the engine is almost knocked, which I'm not saying it is, I'm just saying that this is a perception some may have, then why don't I go inside the other vehicle and try to effect change with people that think like me from within that particular party and within the system itself. And that is a legitimate point of view which you cannot dismiss or deny. Whatever you say, there are some people that believe that, and you can't say that they're wrong. Both sides have points.
Thank you very much, FFK. It's been a wonderful chat. I mean, I don't feel like stopping this, but you know, you gave us 30 minutes, but we've already hit an hour end. So
you don't mean it? Wow.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So Ibobi will be on. I'm na super career. Manoko kusiri makano ko gobiara. Oka no gba oso agbake yin aje ka jibe ebe batata because omo abochukwu di Santos nwo kere ke nwo do mma bo onye na ebe a na-ekpukọtụrụ no ihe emume anu adika osidi biko no ka odiba FFK biko kene ndi Igbo greet Igbos in the language that we understand. So I'm sure you know the language.
Igbo kwenu. Igbo kwenu. Igbo kwenu. Igbo kwenu.
Ndewo. You're welcome. Umwana kwa diba obosinta ka ichwo no were mchi. Ndewo no.